Hi, everybody. My name is Margaret Ledford. I'm with Engage at Gable Stage, and joining me today are Caleb Scott and Jessica Farr for A Florida Story. Can you guys tell me a little bit about your background, how you ended up in theater?
So here's a story.
Here we go.
I had a debilitating speech impediment for a large part of my life. And I had a speech therapist in high school basically tell me she asked me what were the things I feared to do the most. And I was like drama and debate team.
Yeah, public speaking.
And she was like, you have to join those two clubs. And I was like, what?
Terrifying.
But I did it. And it was like, and I remember it being harrowing and crazy, but like that was my introduction to like speaking in public and to performing. And it did actually, I think, kind of open the door for me to be able to manage my speech impediment in a way where it kind of went away.
I was a singer. That was my inroad. My family was an opera family. And then, I was an only child. So I had a lot of time to myself to kind of just tell stories to entertain everyone. And yeah, that's whatever. That's my story. Not as harrowing. There was not as much to overcome. I was definitely always an extrovert, and very talkative. I went to New World, and then I went to New York. I went to Fordham, and I studied in Moscow Art Theater. And then, I was just like shot into the world like a cannon and just continued doing it.
I was a writing major in college, but I performed in many plays and stuff. I trained a little bit in New York, and I was a drama minor in college.
Can you guys tell me a little bit about your project for Engage at Gable Stage, A Florida Story?
We had this idea a couple years ago to kind of create a response to the Florida Man meme. In a deeper way.
To humanize the people behind the headlines, those like endless mugshots you see because of Sunshine State laws. Because they're people, like Florida people are people too.
So we started combing through all of the headlines and mugshots and that stuff, and choosing the stories that we wanted to kind of respond to, and then we basically used those real stories as a jumping off place, and we fictionalized the characters and told a deeper story kind of around the horrifying stories. And it was a way to sort of it was a way to kind of humanize those characters, and then
fuller, more define their desires, their struggles, their triumphs, their fears. Like they're fully fledged people. They're not just a punchline or a trope.
And then so that led to the creation of our podcast, Worst Place on Earth, where we perform those stories, and then we kind of banter about where they came from, and we kind of just talk smack about Florida.
And we feature Florida music acts, and Matt Corey produces.
And then with A Florida Story, we really wanted to deconstruct that idea even further and take 4 of those stories and tell them in a way that
they all spoke to each other.
They all
blended and became the same story.
Right.
And then another layer happened where we were shooting out in the wild right now, and it's Corona land. So all of those stories existed in a new environment, kind of like a wasteland.
Almost a vacuum, yeah. And so we wanted to kind of balance those things. What kind of came out of it was this real sense of loss, I guess. Yeah. Like loss of even the stories that define, like loss of the stories that define us, and and this
So
kind
all
of
you can grasp at is memory or
Right.
Nostalgia, or I guess that's all that we have left are our stories.
right.
Yeah.
So that it became kind of a world entire, I think. This piece, but it's related to the other work in that it kind of came from that.
And they were from 4 distinct neighborhoods and different, like backgrounds, but they all kind of tell a universal story when they blend together.
Tell me a little bit about the collaboration process or the process of making a Florida story.
I mean, we collaborate pretty well on different levels.
It starts with the stories, and those kind of come from both of us. We share ideas about where the characters are coming from, and then we both individually work on our own stories and then perform them for each other and then kind of edit them together. And then
we had to edit all 4 stories together to create one story.
Right.
So we sat next to each other and we were like choosing which lines spoke to each other and crossing out the ones that didn't and cutting our own work.
And then when we brought Stefan Rollins on board to shoot, and he edited the piece too. I mean, we edited it with him, but we
gave him a full outline, and then he kind of did.
But he really kind of let his interpretation guide him.
No, he really ran.
But once we were shooting, another story emerged, which is this story about kind of being lost in landscapes that were once familiar. Because we would go out to the beach and shoot stuff, and there would be nobody. And
on Ocean Drive.
We walked down Ocean Drive, and it was like a ghost town.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then we had the music.
Oh yeah, Afro
That was
Beta
another
came in.
example. And they, we sent them.
We work with them a lot. They score a lot of our work.
Well, we sent them both the full stories and then the edited versions of those stories once we had sort of created the master script. And we just asked them to create one 15-minute piece that was going to basically be the
like skeleton of the piece, or
be the backbone of the piece. So that was an interesting kind of backwards way to enter it as well.
Like editing a music video. Like we have the music, and then that rhythm kind of informs the rest of it.
Right.
What do you hope audiences come away with, or after seeing a Florida story? What do you want? What do you want them to think about, talk about?
We want people to really see themselves in the piece. We want people to kind of feel like we're connected in the ways that these characters are connected. Because I do feel like there's a lot of like universal trauma going on right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like people have a really hard time expressing it for lots of reasons. And so this was sort of our love letter to the world from quarantine in a weird way. Like kind of saying, look, like these people are broken people, but they're no more or less broken than us. And then we're all existing in this new world. And
it's
we're all lost, and we're all trying to navigate our way through it.
Yeah.
So it was really I think the desire was to connect,
I think we were attempting to normalize like the oddities that these people are going through real things, and that they shouldn't be discounted because they have a crazy story. It's not just like the headline, it's who exists inside of that world and that conflict. Like, who is this person?
The point is to really try to understand, to look at the person who did this and to understand like why they would do
how this could have happened, and what like pressure cooker made this happen.
When we can all gather back in a theater and have a collective experience, what does that world look like? What do you hope it looks like? What do you envision it being?
I don't know.
I don't know how it's going to be. I feel like there is like a really deep loss that live performers are feeling right now, and that audiences are feeling. Like, I think about it a lot. Like,
and the digital landscape just doesn't fulfill that same function. Like,
because
it's not a good replacement for it. So
it goes back to what we were talking about. Like, I think once we're back in a theater, I think it's that connection to other people. It's a shared experience. Like, and if there's a way to continue to have those shared experiences,
like if everyone wears a mask for the next few months, maybe we can get out of this sooner than we thought.
That, I think, is the most important.
Implementing other, like, methods of storytelling, like experiment, try something you weren't comfortable with before. Bring in new voices, bring in people that maybe you haven't worked with before that can kind of switch things up. Make space, I don't know, let go of your reservations and fears and just kind of try things out, I don't know.
So thank you, Caleb and Jessica, for joining me today for Engage at Gable Stage, looking at A Florida Story, which will premiere on the Gable Stage website on August 21st at 7 p.m. We'll see you there. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks.
See you there.